Good evening and welcome to the live coverage, the home of Sim Racing Formula Racing League. It is round 1 at Spa for Le Mans Ultimate Season 2, sponsored, powered by Cube Controls. Welcome along. I will be your commentator for tonight and throughout the season. I am Lewis Robinson. If you are watching live, drop a like on the video, whack that subscribe button and say hi in the chat. It'd be good to see who is watching tonight in the live chat. Who are you supporting? Let us know where you're watching from. So we have got an absolute jam-packed race and kind of event tonight. We have got Hypercar GT3 battling it out for the season opener at Spa. We have a split qualifying session coming up in just over 13 minutes time. It's a 20-minute session of qualifying, split between 10 minutes of Hyper and 10 minutes of GT3. And then we have a 1 hour and 20 minute race coming your way. So lots to cover over the next hour and a half, 2 hours or so. So yeah, welcome along. This is the live coverage. I hope everyone is doing well and ready for some Friday night Easter weekend sim racing. Let's not forget it is Easter weekend as well. So hopefully you and your families are having a good one. So, quickest in free practice at the moment in Hyper is the man on your screen right this moment, Adam Moden, currently with a 1:59.6 is the quickest guy, and he is getting the rear end a little bit loose there. He's trying to find the lap time, but he's currently found the gravel trap, but he has certainly found the quickest lap so far in free practice. And yeah, the lap times are pretty staggered, I would say, throughout the field. GT3 looks a little bit closer so far in that practice. I should actually jump on board with some of the GT3. Quickest so far, apologies for the pronunciation here, but he's testing my ability in the commentary box right this very moment. But for Team WRT, the number 46, Kasprizik. Apologies for the pronunciation of that name, I've probably butchered that, but we'll go with it, So yeah, quickest time so far for the GT3, and he's just getting out of the way there of the Hyper coming down the inside. So before we kind of go through the driver list, there's probably a lot of familiar names to those of you who are watching. Lots of new people to Formula Racing League, which is good to see, but there's lots of familiar names from Assetto Corsa ACC as well. But it's good to see new people coming along. So if you are interested in sim racing, if you want to find a league to where you want to kind of get involved with Le Mans Ultimate, then please do check out Formula Racing League on the Discord. There is plenty to offer to kind of whet your appetite when it comes to sim racing, and yeah, but great bunch of guys over there. And then also, just quickly before we go on to the upcoming schedule, what the season looks like, that's just a huge shout out to the series sponsor for this season. It's Cube Controls, an absolutely fantastic sponsor to have on board with Formula Racing League. They've got some amazing prizes up for grabs this season. They've got wheels and pedals going for the series winners, so a real top draw prizes on offer to these drivers tonight. If you're not familiar with Cube Controls, well, they are some quality innovative technology going on with when it comes to sim racing. They are Italian made, unique wheels and pedals designed in Italy, quality materials and a technology that what makes Cube Controls so special. All the wheels are all hand assembled, hand checked, hand packed one by one, so they pay extra attention to each and every single detail on every order. So I believe they've actually got a spring sale on as well, so please do check out their website for some of the products. But yeah, real top draw sim racing products on offer. So just bear with me for a moment while I just do a quick tech check on the sound. Please do let me know in the chat if the game is too loud or am I too loud. Just let me know the volumes. I'm just going to do a quick tech check for 30 seconds. I'll be back with you and we'll go through the upcoming season schedule. Okay, and I'm back. So sound is sounding pretty good my end, so just let me know on that, keep me on my toes if the sound levels are not quite where they need to be. So let's have a look at the upcoming schedule, shall we? Let's just try and... Let's just see where we are with on track. So Adam is still setting the quickest times in 59.2. He's actually gone quicker now. Just catching up on the live chat as well. Nico Velman is in the building. Good evening, Nico. How are you doing? Thank you for joining the stream. And there's quite a few of you watching already, so blimey, I'm feeling under pressure. I haven't been in the commentary box for quite some time. I have done some commentary for Formula Racing League a couple of years back on PlayStation 5. Some of you who are listening might remember if you're from the PlayStation 5 side of FRL. But I've been busy in the SimRig for the last year or so driving myself, so I've not been in the commentary box. But Chris Jones, admin for LMU, has twisted my arm and leg more than once to get me coming back in the booth, so apologies, you're stuck with me for the season, but hopefully we'll see some good racing together. So just over 5 minutes for quali, and then we'll get stuck into what's happening on track. The drivers are just trying to dial in the cars, get the setup, try and find some speed. I know there's a lot of drivers with limited practice so far going into round one tonight, so there's going to be a lot of guys out there trying to just get some track time to try and dial in the car a little bit. I know one of those is Craig Law, actually. Let's see if Craig Law is on, if he's on track, because Craig Law, I was speaking to him a little while ago. Here he is in the Aston Martin. He literally told me 30 minutes ago he's only just brought the Aston Martin on LMU, and he's driven about 2 laps in it. So these laps that you're seeing right now on your screen is very much him learning the car and trying to find some pace. So yeah, Craig, best of luck to Craig tonight in that kind of new venture of the Aston Martin. But he's going quicker so far, as he's finding himself down in 40th position. Nico, watching a PC event on the sidelines for a change. Well, yeah, I mean, sometimes it's good to have a relax on a Friday evening rather than racing. Evening Ninja Cow, how are we doing? Now here's a driver we might recognise. Oh, he's in the box. He's not on track at the moment, but Alan Brown there, currently sitting fairly... Well, he's 43rd at the moment. I don't think he's actually done a competitive lap time yet, but Alan Brown is the one driver we certainly know. Nigel Longdon as well. And let's have a look who else is. Just trying to find a driver on track. There we go. I was looking at the wrong screen. Apologies for that. Gilles Aleman currently in P7. He's on a quick lap at the moment, improving Sector 1 and Sector 2, and he's got a couple of minutes left of free practice. P7 currently. To the bottom of that car, scraping out into the chicane. Twitch right and twitch left, straighten the car up, step on the loud pedal, and what can he do across the line? It's a 2-minute flat. That puts him up to P3. It's a good lap for Gilles, for Toyota Racing. Yes, Nico, very good reminder. Like and subscribe. There's a lot of people watching right now, so please do drop that like button. And if you're not already subscribed, what are you guys doing? Whack the subscribe button. There is going to be a lot of action on Friday nights to come with LMU, but there's also a big event happening tomorrow as well in Formula Racing League on ACC, which is the 12 Hours at Bathurst, which I might be commentating on for an hour or two tomorrow, so please do keep your eyes peeled for that as well. So plenty of sim racing content to watch on this Easter weekend with Formula Racing League. So a lot of drivers will just be finishing in their free practice runs now, probably getting that low fuel run just before quali. So Adam, who was running P1, he might have a little bit of competition on his hands with Francesco Adam, who's done a 59.4, so only a couple of attempts off Adam's pace in free practice. So we might have a battle on our hands here in Hypercar in qualifying. And as I was saying with the GT3 field, it is very close indeed. Leonardo is currently in the pits. We've got Danilo currently P4 with 2-minute 19.8. It's only 6 temps off, just over half a second off P1, so it's a lot closer in GT3. The field spread seems to be a little bit smaller compared to Hyper. A lot of drivers are heading back to the pits now, just having that last minute break before quali. BMW there, just sounding pretty awesome under braking there with the ABS kicking in. So let's bring you, just if we can, the session results. There we go. So that is the free practice results from that session there. As you see, Adam and Francesco very close, and then 8 tenths back is Jules. So that is Hyper. Let's just give you the GT3. There's GT3 there. So as you can see, fairly close between the top 4. So we'll keep an eye on what those lap times compare to the actual quali session. 59.2 is a reference there for Adam. Let's try and remember that, Mr. Commentator. So just bear with us while we just do the server just does its thing and the quali session will shortly be underway. So as a reminder, it is a split quali session. So Hyper, I believe, have the first 10 minutes, and GT3 has the second. So we'll just make sure the drivers are behaving themselves. So let's just bear with me. Okay, so we've got a couple of cars now leaving the pit, so here we go. Oh, blimey, we've got a lot of chat coming on in YouTube. Let's just quickly catch up with that while these drivers warm their tyres up vigorously down the back straight and get some heat into those tyres. So what we got going on here then, we've got Jan Barth in the chat. Hello Jan, how are you doing? The FPS counter, yes, apologies for that, that is a technical error on my behalf. I will turn it off at some point if I remember. I'm not going to do it right now because my PC might explode if that happens. So just bear with me on that. But hopefully it doesn't put you off too much. So we'll stick on board with Adam actually for the first flying lap because he was quickest for free practice. So let's just see what he does initially. I'm just making sure we've got all drivers out. There's still a couple of drivers in the box still, but most are all on their out laps. So we have Adam, we've got Francesco, Gilles is now, he's still in the pits, but he's going to be coming out. Johannes, Malka Gardby, that's a familiar name. Benjamin Eck, who said before this race he feels prepared but doesn't feel prepared, or something along those lines, and he just avoids the spinning number 7 there. That was Valerio, I believe. Kiss, all on the out laps, and let's get Mr. Chris Jones on board as well. There he is, the man himself. So on board now with Adam on the first flying lap. Let's see what he can do. So whipping the car right. Temperature in those tyres probably won't be there just yet. It takes a couple of laps to get warmed up. But he's pretty committed so far as he's into the hairpin. Fairly compliant at the front end. Whips the car left. A little bit of a correction on the steering wheel. 32.7 sector 1. But it's not the quickest. The quickest so far is Adam Kasplar with a 32.7.58. He's gone purple in that first sector. Again, a few corrections on that steering. Malka Garby's now 32.6 sector 1. He's the quickest. So let's keep our eyes on Malka Garby. I'm just trying to keep an eye on the leaderboard at the same time as what's happening on track. So we've got the times flying in throughout sector 1 now as the drivers start their first few laps. But coming through Blanchimont, going to go into chicane, heavy braking, get the car slowed down, turn right, kiss the apex, get the car right, opening up turn, the left-hander, straighten the car out on the loud pedal. What can he do across the line for Adam Modan? It's a 59.3, so it's not bad as he locks the brakes into the first corner. Let's just keep our eyes on Malka, because Malka was quickest in Sector 1 and his Sector 2 time, or actually I'll say that, he was quickest in Sector 1 but Sector 2 has let him down a little bit. We'll stick with him though for the rest of the lap. He was looking fairly racy, but he's got a bit of traffic behind him. So again, see the brakes there just really warmed up. What can he do across the line? Two-minute 1.4. So, who is looking pretty racy? So, obviously, Adam's gone the quickest so far with that 59.3. Adam Sesplar in P2 as well, and then Johannes Priest in P3. It's just under a second off, 8/10 off, and then it looks fairly competitive so far from 4th down to 9th, and then we've got a handful of drivers plus 2 seconds back, so we'll see how those times should get a little bit quicker though as drivers get those tyres warmed up and the fuel just comes down ever so slightly. A few drivers have just dived back into the pits as well, just to probably make a couple of adjustments. Michel Diaz, purple in Sector 1 with a 32.5. How are we doing, Craig? So what can Michel Diaz here for Hertz Team Yotta do? Currently P8, he was very quick in Sector 1. Sector 2 is 54. Lost time, so the two Adams at the top of the leaderboard really have done a blistering middle sector there. Both P1 and P2 are currently on their outlaps, so we'll go back to those shortly when they are on a flying lap, and we'll just stick with Mitchell as he comes across this start-finish line and see if he can improve from his currently P9. Target lap time of 59.3. What can he do? He's got actually lost time in that final sector. So let's have a look. So Adam is now starting back on a new flying lap. Can he improve on that 59.3? He did a 59.2 in free practice, I believe, if my memory serves me correct, from about 6 minutes ago. So we shall see. Marco Keddy, faster. How are we doing, Marco? Push, push, yes. Very much so. The key word, as we've got a car off to the left, he's luckily stays left there. And Adam just avoids the dust cloud. Doesn't put him off his braking zone. He's got a car up ahead though. Is he going to get out of the way? Is he going to pick up a little bit of a slipstream? He's abandoned that lap, so let's go on board with Adam Sesplot, who was only what he's 0.045 off Adam Moden, so, and he's gone very quick in that first sector as well. Lost a little bit of time in the middle sector, but it's just under 2 tenths. But can he find what he needs in the last sector? Blanchamont coming up. Got to get that car slowed down for the final chicane. Heavy braking. Looks fairly compliant. Bit of a bump there with the low ride height. Whoa, the back end just saying, I can't take that. He's going to lose time there. Oh, he's actually, no, he hasn't. What do I know? He's actually gained time there in the final sector. Yeah. So, wow, that is staggeringly close between the top two. Johannes Priest, however, he has gone quicker. He's up to P3. He's 3 tenths behind the 2 Adams. So Johannes is looking fairly speedy. His sector times not too shabby either. He's actually quicker than both of the 2 Adams in sector 1, but again it's sector 2 where Adam Moden and Adam Sesplot really has nailed it. 52.8 sector 2 and a 53 flat for Adam Sesplot, as Johannes comes across the line, does not improve. Gilles Aleman, P4. And that's pretty much the last of the Hypers. I'm just seeing who else we've got coming through. So Dominic is still on a flying lap, but at the moment provisional pole position is Adam Moden. I don't think no one is going to better that time, certainly considering that Dominic is a 1 second off the pace, but he's always gone slower in sector 1 as well, though he has improved in sector 2. Michel Diaz in P8 is also on a flying lap still. So there are just a couple of cars still left to come across the four in the hyper class. So again, final chicane, straighten that car up. What can Dominic produce? Can he improve? He cannot. So GT3s are just now making their way onto track to do their outlaps. So pole position, Adam Moden, absolutely amazing lap time there. And let's just get now onto the GT3 class. So they're now out, pretty much every single GT3 is out on track doing their outlaps, and let's see what they can produce. So as a reminder, there's plenty of you watching, please do hit that like button, whack the subscribe button, and go check out our premium top quality sponsors of Cube Control's amazing sim racing products. So please do check out the website. I believe there is a spring sale on as well currently on their website, and just a huge thank you from everyone at FRL for their amazing support with this season. So here we go for GT3 class. They're out and they're looking busy. Craig Law is the first driver across into sector 1, 38.7. Let's just keep our eyes on who's doing what in those sectors. Tomeo has gone quickest in Sector 1 so far, 38.2 for Team WRT in the BMW. It's very close though. The Sector 1 times are very similar to a lot of these drivers, so this is going to be an interesting quality session. Well, certainly an interesting first set of flying laps coming in, I believe. Danilo Laysack 63.8 in Sector 2. It's the quickest, it's purple. It's got a bit of traffic. Mustang on the right hand side, is he going to down? It's going to be side by side through Blanchimont. This is an interesting qualifying tactic. Certainly going to lose time there as the Mustang pulls off to the right hand side, lets the BMW go through. The 31 BMW in the nice red and white livery there. So across the line, Danilo. P1, 23.1. So times are just starting to fly in now. Let's just try and pick up these drivers. Sorry, apologies. Just flicking through the drivers. So Tomeo goes P1 there with 2 minute 20 flat. So that's 2 seconds quicker than anyone else. That's an absolute blistering lap time from Tomeo. That is an absolute almighty crash for the Mustang there. Blimey. I mean, that is certainly a marker put down by the BMW, the number 46 BMW, as Nigel Longdon, that's a name we recognise there, puts the BMW second on the grid in GT3 class. That is a competitive lap time, but still 1.6 off Bigot. As Joseph Chada in the Porsche, 2 minute 19.8, absolutely flying lap. So it's a lot of BMWs, but the Porsche does not want to join the BMW party. He wants to completely go his own way. Puts it on provisional pile there for Chada. Joseph has gone even quicker at this lap. Is that Mustang okay? To be honest, Stu, I'm not sure. I think that Mustang, he might have a little bit of whiplash. It was certainly a big one, wasn't it? As talking about the Mustang having whiplash, there we go. The driver's name, who I'm going to completely butcher, Kasperzik. We'll go with Kasperzik. The number 46, 19.6 for BMW there. So we have got a bit of a BMW party for the first few rows. But Tomeo Bigot is looking even quicker at the moment. Can't match the time of Kasperzik though. Let's have a look at Alan Brown down in P11 in class in the Aston Martin. Of course Alan Brown is in the Aston Martin. Who would have guessed? 23.1 current lap time. You see the target lap time there of 19.6 of Kasperzik. Just see what Chada is doing as he comes across the final chicane. Can he improve? He can. I think that was a slow lap for him. He was just getting lined up for this flying lap. We'll stick on board with him actually. Let's go on board with the Porsche. It's looking very compliant, isn't it? That Porsche, you'd expect it to be so good in those corners with the traction as well. That rear traction is absolutely epic. So top 4 in GT3 just separated by just under half a second. I think this could be anyone's game if we've got just under, coming into 10 seconds now, so the final, this is going to be make or break. Currently provisional pole is held by the number 46, Kasperzik, with a 19.6. Closest challenger is Joseph Chadder, who we're on board with now. He's coming into sector 3. He's gone slower in the middle sector. As we see Leonardo Vera put it on the second row in P4, he's now in the box, so this is down. Oh, Chadder's lost it. That's it, that's his lap done. So Kasperzik is looking like it's going to be your pole sitter for GT3 class. He's still on a lap as well. And Danilo Lejsak as well in P3, he's still on a flying lap as well. We'll jump on board with him in a moment. He's just come through sector 1. And he's matched Kasperzik in the first sector as well. So we'll jump on board with Lejsak in a second. We'll just see what Kasperzik can do across the line. Can he improve on his 2 minute 19.6? He's got a little bit wide on the exit there. He doesn't improve. So on board with Lejsak in the BMW as well. Through Blanchimont. He's gone about 3 tenths slower in that middle sector, however. But can he still P2 off Chadder? He does! Lejsak goes on to the front row with the BMW, and he was just over a tenth off Kasperzik, so that is such a close quali for GT3. So let's just bring you the qualifying order of the GT3. Let's just see if I can bring that up for you. So there we go, Kasperzik there with a 2 minute 19.6, Lejsak P2 and Chadder P3, so that Lejsak coming through with that last lap across the checkered flag, stealing the front row place off Joseph Chadder in the Porsche. So it's a BMW front row with the Porsche looking to join the action in P3, and we'll go through this full starting order in a moment, but let's just remind you as well where we are with the Hypers. So Adam Moda and the two Adams, the battle of the Adams here at Spa for round 1 of this Cube Controls Formula Racing League Le Mans Ultimate season opener. God, that was a mouthful. I really had to kind of remind my brain what to say there. The battle of the Adams on the front row for Hyper. So let's just get ready for this race. An hour and 20 minutes. Please do pop into the chat who you're supporting, who you're looking to support. Craig Lord, not a clue what I'm doing. Tyres for freezing, told the whole quality. Well, welcome to the Le Mans Ultimate, Craig. It's round 1. There's plenty of time to improve.
Teams and drivers go to the grid for a race start.
So, front row, Adam Modem for pole position and Adam Sesplat in second place. Drivers are just heading to the grid now, as weather conditions are dry as well. So try and give you this starting order correctly. Let's see if I can work my magic on these overlays. Just bear with me. Row 2, here we go. Johannes Priest P3 and Gilles Alleman P4. Francesco Adamu P5, Brandon Gates P6, Dominic Illinger P7, Michel Diaz P8. And I will try, I'm not going to get through the whole row before the race starts unfortunately, but you can see the starting order coming up on your screens now. Apologies for the delay with that overlay. We're about to get ready for green flag racing however. Craig Hill there, P14, struggling with tyre warm-up. So, here we go. Let's get ready to go racing here at Spa for the season opener. Green flag, and away we go for this season 2, round 1 of Formula Racing League. It goes to the left-hand side of the track. Oh, that Adam, the Ferrari locks its brakes. He's lost a lot of places. He's down to probably P5. I think the Peugeot gets on through. Oh, he's now wide. So that is a Ferrari in the background going on. He locked his brakes into turn 1, and he's lost a lot of places there. But through Eau Rouge they go. It's looking fairly clean. There's a lot of cars in the background going side by side. Let's just see what we can find out what's going on. Absolute high speed here, drama for the first few corners at Spa. It's all looking fairly clean. Just trying to see where we are. Let's have a quick look at the GT3. So I think Chadder has managed to get himself from P3 up into the lead. He has. So Chadder, the Porsche, is all the way up from P3. We've got a Hypercar rejoining the track on the left hand side. So the Porsche has managed to leapfrog the two BMWs up into front place with Kasperszik P2 and Bigot P3. Lasik is from second to fourth. So the Porsche, fantastic start from them. Back on board with Adam Moden in P1 Hyper in that Ferrari. And he's got Johannes Priest right on his rear tail. So first lap completed. And we're coming in to the chicane. Is anyone going to be brave enough to make a move? We've got a yellow flag as well somewhere on the track. We'll try and pick that up in a moment. Let's just concentrate on what's happening here at the start of this hyperclass. So across the line for lap 1 completed. Chadder still leads the GT3 for Kasperszik P2 and Bigot P3, as you can see on your screens there. It's looking pretty close between Kasperszik and Chadder, so we'll pick that up in a very moment. In fact, let's pick that up right now, shall we? Let's just have a look on board with Kasperszik. What can he do? That's the rear wing of Kasperszik, it's not what we want. There we go, there's Chadder. So those two just starting to build a gap already. Actually, the gap to Bigot is already 3.2 seconds. So the BMW and the Porsche just driving away from the rest of the pack so far. So I'm just trying to catch my bearings with all what's going on with the timing screens and the battles, so just bear with me while I get my bearings on where we are. The gaps, Johannes is still within touch and distance of Adam Moden up in front, just under half a second away. Johannes is. Looks like he's closed up a little bit though, going through the middle sector here, the 94. I'll try and catch up with the YouTube comments in a moment. Let's just see who the biggest losers are. So Chris Jones down in P30 and P25 in class. He's a big, he has lost quite a few positions. That's a fact. We can bring that up on screen now. It's got a dust cloud kicking up and Chris Jones is just trying to make his way around this Mustang. So you see there on your left hand side, Chadder up 2 positions, Kasprick down 1 and Vara down 8. Stewart up 6, so you can see the positions gained and lost there for the relevant drivers in GT3 class. And Alan Brown's in the pits there, not sure what's happened to Alan. That probably was the yellow flag we saw a few moments ago. So Chris is just trying to get his way back up. Let's just go back on board with Johannes. I think he's just lost a little bit of time to Moden in P1. And let's just see, just bear with me, why? Just trying to find out what happened to Alan Brown. Now we can see the positions gained and lost in the hyper class as well. So Moden still kept his pole position. Adam Sesplar we saw having problems at the start. He went wide into that gravel trap at turn 1, locked his brakes. I believe that is down to P6. There's a little bit of contact there between Johannes. There's a mistake from Adam. So into turn 1, this is the battle for P1 at Spa between Adam Moden and Johannes Priest. You can see the gap live on your screen right now, 0.2, and we've got a car leaving the pit lane. GT3's up ahead, so this could get a little bit spicy. Aston Martin staying to the left, there's a Mustang on the straight, Adam pulls to the right, and Johannes is sticking in that slipstream. Plenty of traffic already for these hypercars to navigate, which is the beauty of multi-class racing here on Le Mans Ultimate. And there's another BMW as he just holds back, doesn't send it up the inside of the BMW, which is fairly wise. Now pulls to the right, they're both pulled to the right. Is Johannes going to get a move? Looking around the outside, that's not going to work. I think Adam will say, I'm too wise for that, come back another day. Thank you for the effort. He's going to stick with each other. This is a fantastic battle to start this race as we tick just over 1 hour 13 minutes to go. It's a great camera shot there if the cars come flying past into Pouhon. It's a little bit wide, looks a little bit wide for Adam. Maybe not, maybe it was my camera angle throwing me off as a commentator. But this is the battle for P1 at the moment. I will try and catch up with all the YouTube chat in a moment. I can see it flying in. But thanks to everyone for throwing in the comments. It's great to have you all watching the race right now. Please do drop a like on that video and whack the subscribe button. I sound like a social media influencer when I say that, but it's very much true. Got to support Formula Racing League, as I think Johannes has just made a mistake actually, and he's lost a little bit of time. Where is he? So let's just try and pick up, see where the gaps are on track. Let's just try and bring you. So Dominic Illinger is looking pretty racy against Joao Pedro Sodra in P11 and 12. Just coming into the final chain as is car 51 and car 7. As Joao Pedro has gone really wide on the final corner. Now this is going to be a move into turn 1. Is it for Dominic? No, he doesn't go for it. He just tucks in behind that Toyota. So that's the battle up for P12. Gap between Adam and Johannes in P1 and 2 is just extended to 0.8. So that's Hypercar. Let's have a quick look down at GT3. It is so Kasperick. I've actually missed this. Apologies. I was watching that battle between Johannes and Modin and Hyper, but Chada has now dropped back to P2 and Kasperick has got past him. There was someone in the YouTube comment section supporting Kasperzik, so you'll be pleased to see that he has now got past him. So this is the battle on your screens for P1 as that Porsche takes a lot of curb on the right hand side. And Timo is actually not far behind either. You can just see him now. That's the P1 and 2 up ahead in GT3 into turn 1 on the brakes to BMW. So the Porsche is in a BMW sandwich at the moment. On board with Chada. Let's see how much of a run he can get on Kasperzik. I don't think a lot in the Porsche straight line speed of that BMW will be favourable. Okay, let's just have a look. So, Johannes Priest has closed back up on Adam Modin. So he did drop off. There's a lot of traffic in the background there as we see the Mustangs and the Hypercars flying past. So Johannes he seems to be dropping back and then coming closer to Adam. So a bit of a toing and throwing at the moment between these two. Up in the lead. As we see the Ferrari of Adamu in the background go very wide. Nico Veldman, Peugeot looks so good. This fight's going to be close to the end. It's looking like that, isn't it, Nico? It's looking like it's going to be one to the end. It's going to keep me on my toes, certainly for the next 1 hour and 8 minutes. As we have the flashing lights to warn the Mustang we're coming through. Dipping the tyres in the gravel there. Is he close enough to make a move into the chicane? I don't think he is this lap. He's got to try and stick closely with him through that final sector and try and get through Rouge closely. This is looking like it's going to be a fantastic battle over the next hour or so. Now, with the strategy, you might be asking, what is the strat? There is no mandatory pit stops. However, this is a question of virtual energy, question of fuel, question of tyres. So we might see some drivers do a little bit of fuel saving, a little bit of tyre saving. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. We need to try and keep our eyes on that as the race progresses. And the weather as well. I believe there's a 20% chance of wet weather. So this could get interesting. Now this is looking like it could be interesting. Forget about the weather for a moment, Lewis. Let's just look at this. Johannes is looking extremely racing as he pulls side by side with Adam. The BMW's on the right hand side. Johannes is on the left. side by side. They're going to squeeze each other. There's trading paint. Can he get the move done? They're going to stick with a little bit of contact, but Adam keeps ahead, keeps the first place. Fantastic battle between these two. Blimey, this is what we want to see on a Friday night on an Easter weekend. They really do want, these two are laying down a marker for the rest of the field and the rest of the season. They're fighting for this Cube Controls prizes. And it's very close now. The headlights are just lighting up the rear end of that Ferrari, almost pushing him around. Puon, as he's got a Mustang to deal with as well. But while these two scrap away, they're just opening the door a little bit to Francesco Adamu, who is closing up quite nicely. We're on board with him now, and you can just see how tricky it is getting through these GT3 traffic. Look how close. There's now a three-way battle here for the lead into the final chicane. Johannes is looking a little bit defensive, trying to cover the inside line. He's got a Ferrari sandwich. The Ferrari has a little look at the inside, isn't going to go for it. This is just all-out racing between a Ferrari, the two Ferraris. We can't. I don't like to always cover the top guys on a stream. I like to try and get down the field, but I can't leave the action here when we've got a three-way battle for the lead. I've just got to stick with it. So, you know, we've got over an hour. We'll try and cover some other drivers and some other battles, but just bear with us while we look at this epic racing going on for the lead in Hyper. So who has got the better run? They're having to weave in and out of that GT3 traffic. Those guys are also having their own races, so Hannes is having a little bit of a look, but no, can't do it there. I mean, the last lap time, just having a look at the stats actually, the leaderboard. So, best of 201.5 for Adam, Johannes was 201.7. There you go, you can just see that there. Just quickly jump on board with Domikos Kiss, as he is looking pretty close to Dominic Illinger. Just under half a second. We've got BMW in GT3 up ahead as well, as you see dust kick up in the background as the car just dips its tyres in that gravel. Ooh, thought he was going to go down the inside of the BMW and just be squeezed, but he just held off there. Kiss manages to get by, lost quite a lot of time actually to Illinger in that battle. And let's just quickly go back on board with Francesco Adamu, because these guys are not letting up, as you can see them crossing your line now. 0.3 separates Francesco and Johannes. And you can just see, has it started raining as well? Is that weather just starting to come in? It is. You can see the window wipers are going. So this is going to be really interesting now, what the drivers have to contend with. As just quickly just jump back ever so slightly with Adam Sesplot, who has lost quite a lot of positions from the start, but he's now trying to regain those, and he's having a right ding-dong battle with Gilles Aleman. This is the battle for P4 and 5. And quickly on board with Cody Besselink. That's a driver we know from ACC. He is closing in, and Peter van Lieshout getting involved there as well, I believe. Was that Peter? Just trying to work it out. Yeah, so Peter is ahead in P18, Cody's P19. That's a driver I'm very familiar with, Peter van Lieshout. Good to see him on track. He's raced with me a number of times over the last year or so. And great livery as well. And let's just quickly switch our attention to GT3 because there's been another leader change there. The Porsche of Chada has got back past Kasperzik, so we keep going back to the battle for the top three in Hyper, and we keep missing this ding-dong battle between Chada and Kasperzik. But Kasperzik has got back past, and Bigger is actually now closing in on Kasperzik. So Kasperzik just struggling a little bit here. Is it the rain just starting to throw these drivers off? And into the final chicane they go. Two BMWs, the 246 BMWs. Doesn't help my job as a commentator trying to work out who's here sometimes. You've got that hypercar of, I think that's Peter van Lieshout coming through. So you can see the rain really starting to come down now, and this is where it's going to get really interesting for what happens. You know, who's going to box for those wet tyres? Who's going to stay out? On board with Johannes Priest because he is now very close to Francesco Adamu. Aleman behind as well. Oh, this is going to be close through Blanchimont. Priest is looking very racy. Oh, we've got to spin it, we've got to spin it, we've got a BMW making things awful. I think the BMW has just got out of the way. That must have been one hairy moment for these guys. And side by side into the chicane. The 94 on the right. He gets squeezed, loses the rear end traction a little bit, manages to keep the car straight. Blimey. Things might be a little bit damp out on track. As down the inside, the number 7 has a look. Can he make it stick? He does. Leaves just enough room for the Ferrari of the 51 Adamu. So Adamu, are we going to go? Don't go side by side through a Rouge, guys. Come on, think about this. No, they tuck in one by one through a Rouge. The traction is probably screaming for mercy with this wet track. Blimey. So Johannes Adamu, absolutely fantastic. I mean, for Aleman there to get those moves done, fantastic. Fantastic racing from Gilles Aleman there. For all three of them, to be honest. So we tick just over now, just under an hour to go. First half hour almost coming to an end. The track is getting damp. The window wipers are going. You can see the rain on the cars on the track. And Gilles just seems to be having a little bit of a pace advantage compared to the others behind. He's just pulled a little bit of time, a little bit of space between Johannes and Francesco behind. But while these guys all squabble away for P2, 3 and 4, Adam is just gallivanting up the field. The gap is now 3.3 seconds. And again, here we go, take two between Aleman, Adamu and Priest, and they go a little bit deep, and the 51's going to have to take avoiding action going over the sausage curb. That's going to open the door to Priest in the Peugeot. of brake locking going on there as well. Oh, there's contact as well. There's contact between Priest and Aleman. We've got cars just starting to box as well. So just bear with me, just what I'm just trying to do here. I'm just trying to rearrange my screens with all the data and just try and bring you what's happening with the pits. Yeah, we've got a lot of cars starting to come into the box now. So the leaders have not yet boxed. Adam is still staying out, but the guys behind are all starting to box. GT3's Chada is still in that lead. What's happened to Kasperzik? It's Kasperzik. Was that Kasperzik the one we saw spinning? It could have been. He's down all the way down in P10 now, so he's lost a lot of places, Kasperzik. So I'm not sure what's happened there. We might have missed that. But Chada out in the lead, and he's coming into the box now. So those wet tyres, he's had enough of the dries in these wet conditions. He's going to go change those tyres. So what's Bigot doing? Is he coming into the box as well? He's coming into the box as well, as is Lasik. What's happened to Leonardo Vera? He's carried on, I believe. He has. So Leonardo is taking the punt here, and in the Mustang he's going to go try and stick it out. Craig Starkey is also coming in. So GT3 is starting the box, Hyperclass, gap off 3 seconds between Moden, and here comes Moden as well, so they're really all starting to box now for these tyres. Johannes Priest. Johannes is staying out, so Johannes is staying out. The 94 Johannes Priest now will inherit the lead of this race, and he will continue in the Peugeot, the 94 Peugeot. Jules Aliman is also staying out on your screen right now. He's gone a little bit deep into turn 1 though, the Toyota number 7. He's staying out indeed, and Brandon Gates has also decided not to box at the moment. They might, unless they already have. I don't believe Brandon has. My telemetry could be a little bit, my telemetry game might not be up to speed if that's already the case. So what we need to do now is just keep an eye on Johannes and where he comes out compared to Adam. While that happens, let me try and catch up on the chat. So you can see there on your left hand side of the screen for the Hypers, well for all of the cars really, the gaps to the leader and who's in the box. So you can see car number 50, so Moden, Adamu, Diaz, Ascioni all in the pits, and the gap between Priest and Alaman is 2.9. You can see how damp the track is getting now. So are these guys going to come in to the pits at the end of this lap? And if so, where are they going to reappear compared to Adamu and Adam Moden? Staying out. Wow, okay. Adam Moden is back up to speed onto track. And in GT3, so Leonardo Vera now in the box. Kasperik is inherited the lead again. Where is Checkered? Here he is, P4 currently. So Leonardo's in the box. I think Checkered is going to get that position. He will do. So Kasperick there is showing as a very healthy lead of 21.7 seconds, but he has not yet boxed. Not that he needs to, bearing in mind, but well, probably will need to. But he stayed out for the moment. Johannes Priest still going. Just trying to see his sector times as well, actually, compared to everyone else. A lot slower. 66.4 was the sector, middle sector there on his current lap. So he's a lot slower compared to everyone else on those tyres. And he's coming into the box now, so this is where we find out what's happening between Adam Moden. But as we've joined them on stream, as you can see, he's under a lot of pressure from Francesco Adamu. So Francesco Adamu is right on the gearbox of the sister Ferrari battle for P4 and 5. Some cars staying out long to save the extra pit stop. Yeah, that's probably a good shout, Nico. Yeah, thanks for that. And Stu Rogers, this looks like fun. Should have raced, but the football is on the telly. Well, you know, we all have different priorities, don't we? But yeah, this has been great fun so far. We've still got 50 odd minutes of this to happen, to come. But I hope you're enjoying the football anyway, Stu. Thanks for popping in. So, 2 Ferraris. Oh, we've got a BMW. He's facing the wrong way. He looks like he's off for a McDonald's drive-through. That's not the way the track is. He's managed to refine the track again, and he's now pointing the right direction. So Johannes is now on the pit exit. Where is Adamu? They're going to take the lead of the race. I think, yep, they have. So Adam Moden re-inherits the lead, and he's under pressure from Francesco behind. There's a lot of spray now. A lot of spray. Really tricky conditions for these drivers. So in terms of the gap, so Gilles Allemand lost a lot of time, I think, staying out. 12.9 now gap to the leader. Adam Sesplar 9.1 in P4. Johannes Priest P3 7.8 seconds back to Adam. So Adam has put himself back into a fairly decent position thus far, but that could all very much change. Just quickly go on board actually with Brandon Geitz, because Brandon Geitz was looking, I was going to say he's looking closely to Ian Langley, but I think Ian Langley's had an incident, because I think he's just getting back up to speed. He is. I think his car is looking like it's... he's going to avoid the Mustang. Oh, he just avoids the Mustang. And he's into the barrier. Blimey. we went on board with that at the right time. I was just saying Brandon Geitz is looking quite close to Ewan Langley, and I went on board and his car looked like it's having all sorts of problems. So Ewan Langley is stuck in the gravel trap right now, and I think that could be his race over and done with. Domokos Kiss in P9. He's just under half a second up to behind Valerio Ascioni. And just using this opportunity where there's a little bit of gaps developing, just to check on some other drivers. Adam Moden though, what's happened to him? What has happened to Adam Moden? Because he is looking like he's driving a excuse me, driving an absolute bag of spanners. He's had a moment. The race leader. Is he pulling into the pits? He is. Apologies for missing that live on stream, but Adam Moden, car number 50, is boxing again. He's had an absolute moment. That car is looking like it's driving on ice, as he can barely keep it under control as he's heading into the pit lane. So that means your new race leader is Francesco Adamu, the 51, and 6.5 seconds back to him is Johannes Priest, and in P3 is Adam Sesplar, who had a difficult start to the race, but he's now regained that up onto P3. So that's a hypercar. Let's just quickly flip you over to GT3. Just bear with while I figure out my mouse. There we go. GT3, Kasperzik in the lead, and still with a 25.2 second lead. P2 is Danny Gould, the driver we've not spoken about thus far. Danny Gould up into P2. He's 25 seconds back, however, and then Joseph Chadder, the Porsche, 2.5 seconds back to Danny Gould. Do have a few retirees from the GT3 class. Alan Brown, Moody, Nigel Longdon, Ian Thompson are the back of the pack in P18 and 19 respectively. And it's good to see this guy as well back in the rig, back racing. Derek Burrow, car number 88, down in 15th in class, P40 overall. Good to see Derek back racing with us. And my good friend Craig Law, here he is. How's he getting on with that Aston Martin, down in P13. It will be a baptism of fire driving this in the wet. He only got into the car a couple of hours ago before the race. I'm just on board with Mark Stewart because he's just looking a little bit like he's closing the gap to Stephen Martin for the battle for P11 in GT3. So as we tick over the halfway point of this race, just a reminder, this series is powered and brought to you by Cube Controls, premium sponsor for this season on Formula Racing League. Please do check out their website, their products. There are some amazing prizes up for grabs this season in Formula Racing League, Le Mans Ultimate. As we see the two Aston Martins side by side, they're trying to trade positions. This is the battle with Mark Stewart. Alex Nieto. On board with Stewart now. And in fact, Nieto is looking pretty close to the other Aston Martin of Craig Law. So a three-way battle here for P12, 13 and 14th in GT3. Oh, Craig Law loses the traction on the Aston Martin, and that allows Nieto to go through in the Porsche. And he's now got to be careful because he's got the Ferrari. Sorry, the Toyota. I believe that's the Toyota. Can't quite see through the rain. The Hypercar coming through. So Craig Law having a moment in the 777 Aston Martin, allowing Alex Nieto in the Porsche to go through. Then we've got a wide Mustang as well who is that? Is that Stephen Martin? It is. That's Stephen Martin in P11. So battle heating up in GT3 back of the grid. This is why we like to cover the middle field as well, because you really can see some interesting things going on. But let's bring you the gaps again to the Hypers and just see where we are. Just refresh yourselves to see where we are. So Francesco Adamu currently leading the gap just over 4 seconds to Priest in P2, and Cespelar is back 9 seconds. You can see the gap to the leaders on your left hand side of the screen. Tom Brunel, I hope you're enjoying your show tonight. I won't mention to the viewers what show you're at, because this is a family show. But yeah, I hope you're enjoying your show. And yeah, do tune in when you get back. Get in front of the TV with a nice cup of tea or a nice alcoholic beverage of your choice. Other drinks are available. And yeah, watch the stream back, because it's been an absolute cracking race so far. It certainly has been a fantastic opening round, and we've still got 40 odd minutes to go. And yeah, apologies, it might not be the crispiest is our word? It might not be the most on point of commentary streams. I am still getting used to Le Mans Ultimate. This is the first time commentating on LMU, so just bear with me while I get used to the various telemetry, camera controls and all that sort of thing. It should hopefully smoothen up for the viewers as these weeks and months progress through the calendar. Minardi's coming into the YouTube chat. Good luck to everyone else driving. It was a nice driving before. I hit the wall at minimal speed at no name, getting orange suspension damage. Oh, sorry to hear that, Minardi. Hopefully see you back on track next week. So the gaps have just started to extend between most people in Hyper. In GT3, Chadder is trying to gain on Danny Gould, just under a second. The Porsche on your screen now. And Adam Moden, just quickly go on board with him. We saw him struggling into the pit lane a couple of laps ago. He is now DNF on the race. That is such a shame to see that for Adam Moden. He's having an amazing race up until that moment in time. And Craig Lure as well. He's all the way down in P30 overall, but P22 in class. He's found himself having on a recovery drive now. Let's quickly go on board with Danilo Lasik, because I say Chadder was catching Gould, but Lasik is catching Chadder. So let's just quickly stay on board with this. And we just see the Porsche just losing a little bit of traction coming out of the chicane. You can see how wet it is and how much of a challenge it is for these drivers to control these cars. They really do have to nail every single braking point with the ABS and really be careful on the throttle. Just ease the throttle out of the corners in these conditions, especially for the hypercars, with how downforce reliant those cars are. So Lysick, just under half a second to Chadder. Well, I say under half a second, he's now a lot closer, because he's now right on the gearbox of that Porsche, and this looks like it could be a move for P3. So can Lysick get up into P3 in GT3? He's now looking down the inside of the Porsche. He goes for the move. I think he's got the move done already into the braking zone. The Porsche looks for the switchback. He's got a little bit deep, has he? No, he's managed to stay online. The BMW gets the move done. Fantastic driving from Danilo Lysak for Team WRT, the 31 BMW, up into P3 in GT3 class. And Chadder, who at one point was leading this race, is just struggling as soon as this rain. The Porsche, either he or the car has just not liked these conditions. The driver who is still out in the lead is Kasperzik. What's the gap? I'm just trying to show you the gaps now as it refreshes. 29 seconds to Kasperzik. Wow. It's not boxed yet though, has he? He's going to have to box surely soon. So, battle for the lead could just be hotting up very nicely if we jump on board with Johannes Priest, because that car in front is the race leader, Francesco Adamu. The gap down to 0.7. So the battle for the lead is back on here on a Friday night, on the 18th of April, Easter weekend here at Spa. Ian Thompson wiped out by LMP and lost the wheel. Ah, sorry to hear that, Ian. Nico coming in with some clutch information there. The rain has stopped. So we're having a drying track, potentially. As the Aston Martin to contend with for Priest. Oh, Adamu just gets a little bit squirrely on the exit curb and coming up to Blanchimont. Oh, they've got a spinning Ferrari there. Not sure who that is. I'll try and figure that out. But, yeah, scary moment there for Johannes in the Peugeot. See the live gap there between P1 and P2 in this race. How close is Johannes in the Peugeot? Is he in slipstream distance? I think he is. He's looking, is the flashing lights of the warning the BMW. Is he going to have a look down the inside? No, he's just, the BMW's just going to stay to the left hand side of the track, allow these two boys to come flying on through. This battle is heating up very nicely. This is exactly what we want to see on a season opener race. The Cube Controls Formula Racing League Season 2, as that Peugeot is looking so much quicker at the moment. Adamu is struggling a lot more compared to Johannes Priest. I'm back with you. I was just taking a quick refreshment of some water as we've been just taking over with 32 minutes remaining of this race, as we see the race leaders fly through Rouge. Car 51 of Francesco Adamu and car 94 of Johannes Priest in the Peugeot. This is Ferrari v Peugeot at Spa in the season opener. They've got GT3 traffic to contend with here as they go down the inside of the Mustang, and Johannes is just going to be a little bit delayed there as he couldn't get the move done. Oh, the Mustang almost squeezes him out wide. As we've got another Mustang going a little bit wide as well there, so this has helped Francesco just have a little bit of a breather to Johannes behind. Johannes just not dealing with that traffic as efficiently as Francesco has done. We've got lapped Hypers up ahead as well. Kasperzik still leads in the GT3 class, but on our screens right now is the battle for P1 and 2. We've got a spinner! We've got a spinner! Francesco has had to go wide. Adam has had to go wide, and that's allowed. Is that allowed Johannes? Where is Johannes? No, Johannes is still tucked in behind. So avoiding action as now trading pains with the BMW. Oh, I think I'm pretty sure they made contact. They're scraped down the inside. Adamu had to take avoiding action to avoid the spinning car in the middle of the track, but he's maintained P1, and Johannes somehow survived all of that as well. Unbelievable. So gap down just 1 second now between Francesco and Johannes. Elsewhere, let's see what else we've got. Just while that battle just reheats up, let's just see what elsewhere we've got going on in Hyper. Dominic Illinger is gaining on Peter van Lieshout. Peter, a driver I know very well, he drives for Simtech Racing. Gap is coming down 0.7. So Dominic, battle for P13 and 14. And this is a driver we all know, Jan Barth, down into P17. He's just, he was catching Timo. He's just lost a little bit of time with the traffic, I believe. And Chris Jones currently down in P21, last of the, well, he's not actually, no, I beg your pardon, he isn't last. Craig Lewis currently the last running Hyper down in P22 in class, but Chris Jones 1 lap down at the moment. He is 30 odd seconds off the next car ahead, which is Simon Turner. So that is Hyper. Just to reconfirm where we are, so Francesco Adamu currently leading, Johannes Priest P2, Adam Sesflar P3, Jules Alleman P4 and Brandon Geitz P5. That is your top 5 in Hyperclass, Hypercar. GT3, let's just quickly flip over to them. Just bring up that data for you. There we go. So Kasperzik is now boxing, so this is the big one. So we've got Danny Gould coming through now in the Mustang. He's staying out, so he's going to inherit that lead. Danilo Lysick, apologies, I'll go with Lysick. I think I've been saying that for the whole race so far. He's got Timo Bigot right on his tail. This is the battle for P2 and 3 in GT3. Kasperzik is now on pit out, so where's he? He's got a long way to go. So on board with Bigot and Lassick through a Rouge they go. And that's Chadda in the Porsche in your background just there. And the two BMWs fighting it out now for P2 and 3 in GT3 class. So Kasperzik has rejoined in P6. Oh no, he hasn't rejoined in P6. He's still on the pit out. That is one lengthy pit exit. I do keep forgetting how lengthy it really is. So your new race leader in GT3. Apologies for skipping around on the cameras there for the moment. Danny Gould is your new race leader in GT3. Let's have a look at the number of stops. So Kasperzik has actually boxed twice. Has he? Is that right? According to the game he has. So you can see that everyone else has boxed once. And positions gained. I mean, Danny Gord is up 5 currently. Kasperzik down 6. Back over to the Hypercar class. Johannes Priest still hunting down Adamu. Everyone's all boxed once here as well. So again, just a reminder, thank you everyone for joining the live coverage. The view numbers have been very good in this race. So thank you for joining. Please do whack a like on that video and hit the little bell icon as well for Formula Racing League TV. And as I said at the start of the stream, you might have missed it. If you are new to sim racing, please do check out FRL on Discord. It's a fantastic community to get involved in across ACC, rFactor 2, Le Mans Ultimate, obviously, and I think that FRL do a little bit of iRacing too. So yeah, please do get involved in that. As we just see here, a change in the leader. Johannes Priest has gone up into first place in Hypercar. Adamu slow out of the Rouge, and that's Johannes Priest. Peugeot is up. So Adamu has made a mistake. As I was just talking you through the benefits of joining FRL, we're just missing what's happening on the screen. And this is the battle for first place, which has been going on for some time now. Adamu is now having a look down the inside, but the Peugeot's got it covered off. The turn left, both swing it in left, and they're literally going to be pushing each other through Huon. So this is Priest and Adamu. Adamu's had to back off a little bit. He has. I think he lost a little bit of time in the dirty air, maybe. Couldn't quite see the apex being that tucked up behind the Peugeot. So Johannes Priest, your new race leader. And you can just see there on your left hand side as well, the energy remaining, the virtual energy remaining, a real key aspect of Hypercar racing. You see there with Priest with 45% and Adam with 40%. Adam Sasplar 35%. And you can see there as well, they're all on wet tyres, apart from Diaz. In fact, that's a very good point. That reminds me. Let's just have a look at Mitchell Diaz. He's on the dry tyre. Just having a look at his sector times actually. Battle between Lassick and Bigot is still going on between the two BMWs. Battle for P2 and 3 here in GT3 class. And back on board as well with Francesco Adamu, who is trying to retake that first position off Johannes Priest. The Mustang GT3 to contend with through Puon. Oh, that's close. Could this be an opportunity for Adamu? So we've been racing now for almost an hour, and the battle for the lead has not let up really one bit throughout this. It really has kept me on my toes throughout the last hour. And this next 20 minutes, the dry line is just starting to appear as Adamu looks for a move on Priest. He's not going to be able to get it done this time round. If he goes for a bit of a switchback, try and get a better exit, as the Peugeot is just looking a little bit less on traction coming out of the final turn. Is he going to go for a move down the inside? He has a look, tries to put him off, but Priest says, I saw that one coming, I'm not going to react to it. I know what you're doing, you're trying to put me off. Smart driving from Adamu. So through Eau Rouge they go. This is a chance for Francesco. Is he going to make a move this time round? Down the inside he goes. He's already made one defensive move. Johannes, he can't defend this one. They're down the inside, and the lead is changed yet again. The 51 Ferrari of Francesco Adamu retakes the lead of this race overall and in Hypercar. And Johannes Priest just couldn't do anything there to avoid him. He already made a little bit of a move to cover the inside, but Francesco just says, I'm going to go right up to the white line here and completely go down the inside. You can't do anything about that one. Fantastic driving from these two, but it is far from over with 20 minutes remaining in this race. I'll be back with you. Well, actually, I was about to have a quick drink. Back to nip off for 20 seconds, have a quick drink, but I don't think I will, because all of a sudden Johannes just squeezed up to the rear of him. Let's just see what happens for the rest of this lap, and I'll save my drink for a moment. So, Aston Martin up ahead in the GT3 just to contend with traffic. Is he both going to squeeze on through? They are. The Aston Martin just stays nice and wide. Who can get the better exit? Oh, Johannes ran very wide, and that's going to compromise his run all the way now through Blanchimont into the chicane. So a sigh of relief for Francesco Adamu there. I'll be back with you in 30 seconds. And I'm back. So, Benjamin Eck, as I rejoin the action. Benjamin Eck there just testing the limits of the grip of that Porsche. Benjamin Eck, I put him on screen because he was gaining on João Pedro in, excuse me, in P7. But that moment on the exit curve there for Benjamin Eck has just dropped him down to 1.1 seconds off the rear end tail of João Pedro Sodra in P7. So Benjamin Eck, a familiar name we all know. And the gap between P1 and 2, again, still under a second. 0.8. Johannes just trying to refine that pace, try and retake that lead. Are we going to see another lead change in these final 18 minutes? Let's hope so, because it's fantastic action to be watching. Quickly jump on board with Craig Law, because his gap is 0.3 to the battle with Stephen Martin. It's the battle for P12 and 13th in class. This is Craig Law on the rear of that Mustang. So Stephen Martin, car 88 in the Mustang, and Craig Law, 777 Aston Martin, coming up to Pouhon. Has a little look offline though. He's going to dip his tyres into that wet line. He wants to try and stick onto the dry line. Craig just trying to get to grips with the car and the physics in the LMU. He's very close now to the Aston Martin. Is he going to have a look at the inside? No, he's just going to tuck him behind, follow him through. A lot of curve for the Mustang. He's down the inside now. Ooh, for no reason. I think he was trying to get on the brakes quite heavily. Got a car going wide as well in the gravel up ahead. Where's he going to rejoin? Be careful, lads. He's out of the way, okay. He's back up and running. In fact, that is Alex Nieto. That's Alex Nieto in P11 up ahead. So three-way battle here for P11, 12 and 13 between Alex Nieto, Stephen Martin and Craig Law. Here it is. Stephen Martin boxes. So that's Stephen Martin in the box. That is a move for dry tyres. Johannes Priest, still under a second to Francesco Adamu. Just keeping my eye on who's boxing and who's not. So everyone on Hyperclass is staying out. In terms of GT3, Stephen Martin's the only one who's gone to the dry tyre. In fact, there was someone in Hyper running on a dry tyre. Who was it now? Let's try and find out. It was Diaz, wasn't it? Yes, Mitchell Diaz. I'm with him now. His sector times, yeah, it's definitely the dry tyre is definitely working for him now. The sector times is a lot quicker, and he's just got past Peter van Lieshout. So Diaz up to 11th. He's now 14 seconds back from Patrick Den in P10. So Peter van Lieshout not giving it up just yet, but. This is wet tyre versus dry tyre, if that overlay is to be believed, but the sector times pretty much prove it. Mitchell Diaz, sector 1 was a 34.4, that was quicker than pretty much anyone else on track, so yeah, dry tyre starting to work nicely now, I believe. And back on board with the battle for P1 and 2 because Johannes Priest has just squeezed up right to the gearbox of Francesco Adamu. Half a second. You can see now on the rear wing, can't get my words out, blimey. Rear wing camera angle here, you can see Johannes hunting him down. 13 minutes remaining of this race. Crunch time. I think it'll be a bit silly now for drivers to box for dry tyres, to be honest. We've got a hypercar off the track there on the left hand side. I think it will be a bit silly for cars starting to box now. There's little time remaining to really make that tyre work with the time that you'll lose in the pit lanes. I think it's just going to be a case of trying to keep these wet tyres cool enough, really. But we'll see. I could be completely wrong. As we see Pedro Sodra come into the pit for car number 7. So Francesco Adamu running well. He's running well at the moment. That gap 1.2 seconds to Johannes. So Mitchell Diaz, who is running the dry tyre in Hyper, down in P10. Last lap, the gap to P9, Patrick Den, was 14 seconds. That gap is now down to 9. So that dry tyre, Mitchell Diaz really is flying on that. That could be one to watch. The problem he's got, the gaps are so big from there off, so he might catch P9, Patrick. But then he's got another 6 seconds to catch Benjamin Eck. And let's just quickly go on board with Benjamin Eck and Valerio Ascioni, because Benjamin Eck has just got past Ascioni. So on board with Ascioni now, and you can see Benjamin Eck has just made that move. So Benjamin Eck up into P7. He's held back. Has he got a problem? Benjamin Eck is going very slow here. What has happened to Benjamin Eck? He's... I'm very confused as to what's happened to Benjamin Eck there. If anyone knows, please do pop it into the comments. But oh, okay, he's just gone full throttle into the barrier. So Benjamin Eck is having some sort of moment. He's now stopped. Anyway, ignoring that, let's go back on board with the battle for P1. Johannes Priest, half a second now to Francesco Adamu. Through Rouge they go. Look at that, fantastic camera angles. The cars scrape along the floor, the down floors, that dry line appearing really nicely now. Got yellow flags out somewhere on track, we'll find out where that is. But 0.6, 0.7, Benjamin Eck's car still parked up on the left hand side there, on the right hand side, beg your pardon. And we've got 10 minutes remaining of this Cube Controls Formula Racing League season opener at Spa. Who is going to take the race win? Is it going to be Francesco Adamu, the 51, or is it going to be Johannes Priest, the Peugeot 94? We're going to find out in the next 10 minutes, ladies and gentlemen. Very close now between these two. So I was just taking a breather. But these guys are not doing that. They're not taking a breather. They're full throttle. They're fully at it. These two have been having a ding-dong battle for the whole entire race. And it's full commitment now on that dry line. It's just fully send. Faster, as Keddy would say. On board with Johannes, see how close he can get to Francesco. They've got a Hypercar to contend with a back marker there. Going a little bit wide, car 20. Careful on the rejoin. He stays left, Johannes. He's looking pretty close here. Can he get the traction out of turn 1? Yeah, kind of. I think Francesco had the better exit, to be honest. Looking at that gap, through Rouge go, a little bit of a lift off, I think. He's going to be too far away. 0.6 the gap. He's got to be a bit closer to make a move. Kemmel straight. But Francesco Adamu up 4 positions. The energy usage as well remaining is very similar at 16 and 18% respectively. And they've got the Aston Martin GT3. Go to the right hand side. He's close now. He's close now. Johannes to the outside. They're side by side. He's not going to get the move around the outside. That was very optimistic from the Peugeot driver. But he's just letting Adamu know that, look, there might be 7.5 minutes remaining, but this is going to be a very tough 7.5 minutes remaining for you, because I am right on the rear of your Ferrari. Through Pouhon they go. this is exactly what you want to see when you come to sim racing on a Friday night. It's just battling like this for the race lead. I've got a GT3 car going very wide through P1 in the background. Just having a look to see where the other gaps are. There's a big battle going on between Peter van Lieshout, Alex Alfonso and Dominic Illinger for P10 and 11. But I'm very tempted not to switch off the mode. I just don't want to miss with the final few minutes of this race what's going to happen between these two. So just forgive me while we stick with the battle between these two. So apologies for any of the drivers down the grid who are not getting much screen time tonight, but can you blame me with the battle between these? In GT3, let's just bring you a quick update on what's happening in GT3. So Danny Gould is still leading with Timeo Bigot in P2, and P3 is Danilo Lasic. 4-second lead there for Danny Gould, as you can see on the left hand side of your screen. Joseph Chadder P4 and Kasperick P5. Kasperick, who was the pole P1 at the start of this race in GT3, is down to P5. He's had a bit of a troublesome race. We missed a moment during the live stream. He obviously had a moment because he was going very slow into the pits, but he's done well to recover to P5, 21 seconds off the lead. And then Hyper, as you can see, under a second the lead between Adamu and Priest. It's been a fantastic race for Adamu. He's driven superbly. I'm just quickly switching to Mitchell Diaz, the driver on the dry tyre, the early adopter to the dry tyre, is flying. He's catching Patrick at a rate of knots, now 1.5 back from Patrick Den. Down in P9. Adam Sesplar is trying again on Brandon Geitz, battle for P4. And Jules Alleman, who's currently in the final podium spot in Hyper, is still got a little bit of pressure because Brandon Geitz is only 1.4 back and Adam is 1.6 back from him, so the battle for P3 certainly is not over. There's a 3-car battle for P3, so we'll try and keep our eyes on that as well, in addition to the lead between Francesco Adamu and Johannes Priest. Oh, as he locks his brakes into turn 1. Let's see how committed he is through Rouge. Brandon. Pretty committed. As I was tensing myself there. And on board with Johannes. Trying to hunt down Adamu. With just over 3 minutes remaining in this race, has Francesco Adamu got this race covered? Slight mistake from Francesco. The gap's just come down a little bit. 0.7 now. trying to keep my eyes on the battle for P3 as well, because Brandon is still 1.2 off Gilles for that final podium spot in Hypercar, as we're now 2 minutes remaining. So we're nearing the end of this race, and Adamu has nearly got this covered, but it's not over and done with yet. Let's see what happens in these final minutes remaining. As you can see as well, the battle for P3 is still raging on. Still the gap 1.3 between Brandon and Alleman. This is your race leader on the screen now, the 51 Ferrari. Oh, as he almost had his front of his car snapped off, bit off by the Mustang. That Mustang is very aggressive looking, as Johannes just almost, he's got through. He has got through the Mustang, but it was dicey. It was touch and go. We're close now. 0.4 under a minute remaining of this race. No mistakes now from Adamu. He's just got to keep this controlled. He's just got to stick with it. Johannes has just got to pray he makes a mistake. He's got to stay within touching distance, try and fake a move, maybe try and throw him off into a braking zone. But Adamu looks like he's got this covered really nicely so far, but let's see. Oh, he's got a slow Hypercar as well on the right hand side into the braking zone of the final chicane. Johannes closing it pretty nicely. And that is the race win. Wow, that's the race win for Francesco Adamu. He's job done in round one of this season opener for Formula Racing League. Johannes Priest come through, and Gilles Alleman, can he hold off the late charge of Brandon Geitz to secure the final podium spot in Hypercar? He can. Gilles Alleman comes home in P3, Brandon Geitz P4, Adam Cesplar, beg your pardon, P5, Dominic Kiss is back in 6th. Let's quickly switch to Hypercar, because the battle, the Porsche of Joseph Chada is under a half a second to Danilo Lasic. This race is not done. Hypercar might be done, but GT3 isn't. We're in the final lap of the GT3 race, and Joseph Chada, who I think was P2 on the grid at the start of this race, is all over the BMW of Danilo Lasic. Can Danilo hold on? Through Pouhon they go. Oh, the closing speed round the outside. Oh, the BMW's going to force him off a little bit. Yeah, he just says no thank you. Stay behind me. They've got a Hypercar BMW trying to come through as well. That's going to spice things up. As down the inside, Chada has a look. Can he get on the brakes? He can. They avoid contact. There's a bit of flashing lights there. I don't really know what he's flashing for. This is racing. It's a last lap battle for the lead in GT3. You just got to fight it out, boys. You just got to fight it out, but cleanly. Fight it out cleanly. So, back straight the move. He's got to keep himself composed. Now, side by side through Blanchimont. This is tyres of Lasic is just done, and Chada goes on through to take the lead in GT3 through Blanchimont into the final chicane. That's the BMW. Is he running out of fuel? He must be running out of fuel, or his tyres are completely dead. Kasprzyk has gone from P5 to P2. So Kasprzyk is even closing on Chada. That's the closing speed of that BMW. Well, Joseph Chada will take the checkered flag in GT3. P1, P2 for Kasprzyk, and Danilo P3. That is your podium in GT3. Wow, I need to take a breather, because that was some almighty action on the last lap there. Whew. Flashing lights there for Danilo. Almost won the race, but couldn't hold out. The Porsche of Joseph Chada coming on through. So your race winners and your podium. Let's just bring it up, actually, the session results, if I can. can't yet. It's not ticked over. So can I bring it up? There we go. Oh, that's GT3. Apologies. Commentator, do your job properly. So there we go. Francesco Adamu P1, Johannes Priest P2, Gilles Alleman P3, Brandon Geitz P4, Adam Sesplar P5, Domokos Kiss P6, Mitchell Diaz managed to make that dry tyre work quite nicely up to P7, Valerio Ascioni P8, Timo Braun P9 and Patrick Den P10. So that's the top 10 in Hyper. And in GT3, Joseph Chadder in the Porsche, 91 Porsche, takes the win. Kasperzik P2, Lasik P3, Leonardo Vera P4, Timo Bigot P5, Danny Gould P6, who was leading the race at one point. Pavels Vetulugans, who we did not cover on the stream today, but Pavels with P7, Craig Starkey P8, Riediver Mueller P9, and Carl Van Horn P10. So that is your top 10 from both Hyper and GT3. Well, I'm absolutely knackered. I don't know about you guys watching that, but that was some great racing going on there. It was just full-on action for 1 hour, 20 minutes around Spa. And if that's a sign of things to come for the rest of the season, then we are in for an absolute treat. That is for sure. So, how do I summarise that? I mean, that was just some... I was just catching up with the comments. Craig Law coming in there. That's absolutely awful. And I'm talking about my pace. Yeah, I wasn't sure what you were talking about there. Were you talking about the stream, Craig? I mean, I know this is my return to the commentary box for a long while, but I didn't think it was that bad. But no, you're talking about your pace. I mean, look, it's your first round, Craig. It'll only improve. It'll only improve. Nico, good content to watch though. Yeah, thanks Nico for sticking with the stream. Frank Van Ginneken, last 20 seconds they were on 0% energy. Yeah, to be honest, I'm going to play the naive card there. I am not entirely sure how that worked. We'll glaze over that though. There will be better people with more knowledge than me be able to explain that one perhaps. Right, well, I'm just trying to think of the words to summarise that, and I can't. I'm struggling to kind of put it into words because, you know, that race started dry. We had action on lap 1 going into the first corner with a Ferrari going off into the gravel track. We had numerous lead changes. We had wet weather arrive, drivers having to change tyres from dries to wets. We had a couple of drivers dive into the pits to get rid of the wets, back onto dries, some driving through, some saving energy, some saving, you know, trying to keep the cut tyres nice and cool. It was a real mix out there. You know, you certainly saw the wet weather, kind of throw a spanner in the works of those drivers